BiostatDoc here with an introduction to using mathematics and including mathematics in your R Markdown documents. So I'm going to launch RStudio and load in a file that I've prepared ahead of time to demonstrate how to incorporate mathematics in your R Markdown documents. This is not a complete treatment of mathematics, but of some of the more important facets that will come up time and again. So in the beginning of this file, I demonstrate some other things I want to point out quickly. One is a multi-line title, and so you do that using these vertical bars. I also am incorporating a dynamic date. That is, the date that appears on the rendered document will be at the time that it was rendered. So instead of pre-specifying a date when I wrote this, it will change each time that it's rendered. That's nice to have certain times. Following that is the usual code chunk that sets up all of the options for all of the code chunks that follow. Take a look at this. There are many different things that you can specify with a short explanation of what they are. They can save you time on rendering and are nice to know. We start up with something very simple, and that is just the inclusion of x equals 5 in the middle of a paragraph. You've seen this before. It's just done by putting that expression in between a dollar sign at the beginning and at the end. As soon as you know how to do that, one of the things you'll want to do is start to incorporate Greek characters. They come up so often in many of our equations, and so doing so is fairly simple. You just need a backslash and then the name of the character. So to get a Greek alpha, you need backslash ALPHA. Very simple. You do need to be in math mode, so they do need to be in dollar signs. So I've made a very nice table that you can treat as a reference, and in addition to just including all of the Greek characters, I've made another table that has lots of very useful other characters, including arrows and dots and times and greater than or equal to and all kinds of other things. This is not exhaustive, but is meant to be useful so you can tell what is available. And a Google search will find you many other things. Now, as soon as you've mastered being able to incorporate all of these kinds of things, the next item you'll want to include in your document is a displayed equation. And you can get a displayed equation using double dollar signs, $2 signs at the beginning and at the end, or a backslash open square bracket and a backslash close square bracket. Within those two items, beginning and ending, you put whatever expression you want. It will be centered on a line all by itself. And I've gone ahead and demonstrated how you can incorporate R output into the middle of that expression. And so note that it doesn't render that specification of the expression. It passes the expression to R, gets the result back from R, and then incorporates that result into the printed document. So very powerful thing to be able to use in your documents. Now, after you've gotten the habit of incorporating a single displayed equation, you'll want to, no doubt, be able to specify a series of mathematical progression or algebraic progression, a series of equations that show how to get to a final answer. So I have an algebraic expression here where I want to show how you solve for x, and so there are many different equations, and notice how they all line up on the equal sign. So there's a left-hand side to the equation and a right-hand side to the equation. There are in fact 3 columns to this, and so the denotation of the break between column 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 is with an ampersand. Now, if you didn't have that and you only had to specify a bunch of displayed equations, they would each be centered. And so they wouldn't line up on the equal sign. It wouldn't be quite as apparent to the reader what they were supposed to glean from this series of equations. So nice to be able to use those EQN arrays. Next thing you'll want to be able to do is that often you want to group part of an expression within mathematics. And so you can do that with parentheses, square brackets, and braces, just like always. Just remember, with braces, you have to have a backslash, so it's backslash, open curly brace, and backslash, close curly brace. What isn't quite so apparent is how to make them as tall as they might need to be, depending upon what it is that you're grouping. So I've got a simple example in this document that is a fraction, so those grouping characters really need to be slightly taller. And the way you accomplish that is using \left and \right. So that tells the rendering machine to take a look at all of the expression within what's being grouped and determine the height of it so that the grouping characters themselves can be drawn tall enough to group everything that's being specified. So very nice to be able to do that. The other thing you might want to do on occasion is a little bit more horizontal space. You can do that using \comma, \colon, and \semicolon. You can string those together if you really want to. The demonstration here is a little bit of space before and after a vertical bar. After that, the last thing you want to know is matrices probably, and so here is a way to get bracketed matrices and parentheses around matrices. And I also incorporate showing you how to get a subscript on those matrices. So nice to have these in a single space. Use this as you would any of the other cheat sheets and add your own special touches to this document. Be well, I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us, and check in again as we continue to make videos on R Markdown, RStudio, and basic biostatistics.